The galaxy was vast, filled with stars, planets, and beings that had lived for thousands of years. Among them were powerful empires, ancient species, and great councils that ruled space like kings once ruled Earth. These civilizations had built wonders beyond imagination, cities floating in the sky, machines that could think, ships that traveled faster than light. But among all these powers, one species was ignored: humanity. For a long time, humans had tried to reach out. They sent messages into space, hoping someone would answer. They launched satellites, then ships, then colonies on nearby worlds. But no one came. No alien fleet arrived to greet them. No peaceful ambassadors reached out. Not even a single signal responded to their calls. Instead, humanity remained alone. Or so they thought. Because far away in the heart of the Zelari Union, a massive interstellar government formed by many alien races, humanity was known. Not as friends or enemies, but as something worse, irrelevant. To the Zelari Council, humans were loud, messy, and primitive. Their wars, their pollution, their constant arguing made them seem unstable. They lacked the unity, the discipline, the grace of true galactic citizens. So the Zelari did what they always did with such species. They watched from afar and waited. If humans proved themselves useful someday, maybe they would be allowed into the greater galactic community. Until then, it was best not to interfere. And so, Earth continued its slow climb into space, unaware that it had already been judged and found unworthy. Logan Carter didn't care about any of this. He was a man in his early 30s, born and raised in New Denver, a city built on the ruins of the old American capital after the great climate collapse of 2087. He grew up watching the stars, dreaming of what lay beyond. His parents had been engineers. His father worked on fusion cores. His mother designed atmospheric stabilizers for Mars colonies. From an early age, Logan learned how things worked. Not just machines, but ideas. He loved solving problems, building new things, pushing limits. Now, he worked at the United Space Agency's research station Echo 9, orbiting above Earth's moon. It was here that he was trying to crack something no human, or alien, as far as anyone knew, had done before. A new kind of FTL drive. Faster-than-light travel had been the holy grail of space exploration for over a century. Most alien species used warp gates or jump lanes, fixed points in space where ships could instantly move from one place to another. Humans had tried copying these systems, but without access to alien tech, progress was slow. So instead of copying, Logan wanted to invent something better. Something that didn't rely on gates or fixed routes. He called it the free jump drive. The idea was simple: bend space around the ship, creating a bubble of compressed reality that could slip through normal space like a needle through cloth. In theory, it should work. In practice, well, that's what testing was for. Logan wasn't alone in this project. He had a small team of brilliant minds working beside him. There was Natalie Cruz, the pilot. She had flown nearly every type of spacecraft ever built and had more flight hours than most people had birthdays. She was calm, under pressure, quick-thinking, and never backed down from a challenge. Then there was Kyle Bennett, the biologist. He wasn't exactly an engineer, but his understanding of organic matter helped Logan design the interface between human pilots and the jump core. Somehow the human brain reacted better to the system when it mimicked neural pathways. Kyle figured it out. Jamie Morrow was the medic, quiet, thoughtful, always ready with a joke or a cup of coffee. She kept everyone grounded, reminding them they were still human, even if they were doing things no human had done before. Together, they were a team, small but smart, dedicated, and determined. Today was test day. Not just any test. This was the first full-power trial of the free jump drive. Everyone was nervous. Even Logan, who usually played it cool, felt his stomach twist as he looked at the control panel. "Are we really doing this?" Kyle asked, looking at the glowing engine core behind the glass. "We've tested every component," Logan said. "We've run simulations 1,000 times. We know the risks." "Yeah, but now we're risking real lives," Jamie muttered. We wouldn't be here if we weren't ready, Natalie said, strapping herself into the pilot's seat. Let's do this. The ship, the USS Horizon, wasn't much to look at. A sleek white vessel built for research, not war. It had room for 6 crew, a lab, and enough supplies for a month in deep space, but today it carried something no other ship ever had. Hope. Logan took his seat next to Natalie. He tapped the screen, bringing up the jump sequence. All systems. Green, he said, activating the core. A low hum filled the cabin as energy surged through the ship. Lights flickered. Instruments blinked rapidly. Outside, the moon drifted silently in the dark. Inside, hearts pounded. Jump in 5, 4, 3. The hum rose to a whine. 2, 1. Silence. Then, light, a flash, and then nothing. When Logan opened his eyes, everything was wrong. The ship was spinning slowly, lights flickering. Alarms buzzed softly. Did we make it? Natalie asked, her voice shaky. I think so, Logan said, checking the instruments. But we're not where we were supposed to be. What do you mean? Kyle asked. Logan pointed at the display. We were supposed to jump to Lagrange Point 9, just outside Mars orbit, but we're somewhere else. Define somewhere else, Jamie said. Logan frowned. I don't recognize this star system. That's not possible. Kyle said. Our coordinates were precise. They were, Logan agreed. But something changed mid-jump. Natalie turned the ship slowly, scanning the view outside. Stars stretched in all directions, but none matched the maps they knew. And then they saw it. A massive object floated in space ahead of them. It was huge, larger than any station or ship they had ever seen. Its surface was dark, covered in strange symbols. Parts of it were broken, scorched by some ancient battle. It's a wreck, Natalie whispered. A dead ship? Jamie asked. No, Logan said. Not dead. Just forgotten. They stared at the hulking mass of metal drifting in silence. Who built it? What happened to it? And why did their jump bring them here? No one had answers, only questions, and a feeling that whatever they had just stumbled into, it was going to change everything. The USS Horizon drifted silently in the dark, its engines offline, its systems flickering like a candle in the wind. Inside the cockpit, Logan Carter sat frozen at his console, eyes scanning the data. His fingers danced across the keyboard, trying to make sense of where they were. Natalie, he said slowly. We're not in our system. She didn't answer right away. Her hands were on the controls, trying to stabilize the ship's spin. I figured that out already, she muttered. We need to stop spinning before I throw up. Jamie Morrow, the medic, was already checking. Kyle Bennett for injuries. Kyle had hit his head when the jump went wrong and was groggy but awake. I'm fine, Kyle mumbled. Just give me a minute. Logan ignored them for now. He focused on the readouts. We're about 3,000 light years from Earth, he said. There was silence. Then Natalie said, That's impossible. No, Logan replied. Not if the jump core overpowered itself. We got thrown off course. So what do we do? Jamie asked. We figure out where we are, Natalie said, and how to get back. They spent the next hour running diagnostics. The free jump drive was damaged badly. It would take days to fix, even with Kyle helping. The ship's power reserves were low, and some systems had gone into emergency mode. But worse than all that was the object floating in front of them. It was massive. Blackened metal stretched across the void like a broken skeleton. Long gashes ran along its hull, revealing inner layers of strange machinery. It looked ancient, like it had been abandoned for centuries. What is it? Kyle asked, finally standing. A ship, Logan said. Or what's left of one. It's huge, Natalie whispered. Bigger than any station we've built. Logan zoomed in using the ship's external cameras. Symbols covered the surface. Sharp, angular shapes that didn't match any known language. This isn't human, he said. No kidding. Natalie replied. So what do? We can't just float here forever. We explore, Logan said. Everyone turned to him. You're joking, Jamie said. No, Logan said. This could be important. If this is alien tech, we might learn something that helps us get home. And if it's dangerous? Kyle asked. We're already in danger, Logan said. We're stranded in deep space with a broken ship. We don't have the luxury of playing it safe. Natalie nodded. He's right. We need options. 30. Minutes later, they suited up and boarded an escape pod. It detached from the horizon and flew toward the wreck. As they approached, the scale of it became even more terrifying. The ship wasn't just big, it was immense. They passed through a hole in the hull, landing inside what looked like a docking bay. The lights were dim, flickering. Some parts of the room glowed faintly with unknown energy. They stepped out, boots clanking against the floor. Silence. Only the sound of their breathing filled the suit radios. This place gives me the creeps, Jamie muttered. Stay alert, Natalie said. We don't know what's still active. They moved deeper into the ship, following corridors lined with panels of strange symbols. Some doors were sealed shut. Others slid open automatically as they passed. In one room, they found what looked like a control center. Monitors flickered, showing lines of alien text. Kyle walked over to a central console. This looks like a database, he said. Logan joined him. Can you access it? Kyle frowned. Maybe, but we'll need time. We don't have much, Natalie warned. If this place is still partially powered, something might notice us. They worked quickly. Kyle connected a small interface device to the console, linking it to Logan's handheld scanner. Data began flowing in. Slow at first, then faster. Suddenly, the lights brightened. A deep hum filled the air. Then a voice. Wasn't human. It was cold, mechanical, and spoke in a language none of them understood. But then, the translation module kicked in. Warning, the voice said. Unauthorized presence detected. Oh no, Jamie whispered. Before anyone could react, the room changed. Metal walls shifted, panels opened, machines came alive, lights turned red, alarms blared, a robotic arm extended from the ceiling, aiming directly at them. Move! Natalie shouted. They ran. The beam fired behind them, striking the wall and leaving a smoking crater. They sprinted down the corridor, heartbeats pounding in their ears. Behind them, more machines activated. Drones, turrets, security bots. This place doesn't like us, Kyle yelled. I noticed. Logan shot back. They reached the exit and bolted outside, racing back to the escape pod. As soon as they were aboard, Natalie launched them away from the wreck. Behind them, the ship's outer hull lit up with glowing patterns. Something was waking up. Please tell me we're far enough away, Jamie said. We're not, Logan said grimly. We triggered something. Back on the horizon, they locked themselves in and reviewed the data they had downloaded. It was massive, terabytes of information. Some of it was unreadable, but some made sense. Weapons, schematics, energy cores, shield designs, advanced AI protocols. This is way beyond anything we have, Kyle said. Which means someone else had this technology long before us, Logan said. But who? Natalie asked. No one had an answer. They kept studying the files, hoping to find clues. Hours passed. Then Logan found something. A name. Well, not a name exactly. A designation. Project Virextal, he read aloud. That sounds like a person, Kyle said. Maybe it was, Logan said. Or maybe it was a mission. They stared at each other. We need to keep going, Logan said. We need to learn more. Natalie sighed. You mean we go back? We have to, Logan said. Whatever this place was, it belonged to someone powerful, and we took something from them. Jamie shook her head. I hate this plan. But you're still going to help, right? Kyle grinned. Unfortunately, she muttered. They prepared again. suiting up, going back. This time, they knew what to expect. Security systems, weapons, drones. But they also had something new, information. Using the stolen data, Logan reprogrammed part of the system. He bypassed security protocols and disabled the defenses in one section of the ship. They landed again. This time they moved carefully. Inside a large chamber they found rows of pods, like cryo chambers used by humans for long space travel. Except, these were different. Each pod held a body, not human. Tall, thin, with smooth skin and elongated heads. They look, Kyle started. Dead, Jamie finished. Maybe not, Logan said. Let's check. They scanned the pods. All readings were negative. No life signs. These people, or whatever they were, are gone, Natalie said. But why leave the ship intact? Logan asked. Why build all this and just abandon it? They kept searching. Eventually, they found a terminal that wasn't damaged. Logan hooked up again. Data streamed in. Maps, records, history. The ship had once been part of a larger fleet. Its purpose? To defend something. But what? Then they saw it. Warning message. Containment breach. Subject Virextal has escaped. Logan froze. Virextal wasn't a mission. He whispered. It was a prisoner. The others looked at him. A prisoner? Kyle asked. An experiment, Logan said. Or a weapon. Something powerful enough to require containment. Jamie swallowed hard. And now it's loose. Outside, the ship trembled. A low vibration ran through the hull. Then the lights flickered again. But this time something else happened. The pods began to open, one by one, slowly, quietly. From the shadows, movement, figures stepping forward, eyes glowing, alive. Humanity had entered a tomb and now it was waking up. The USS Horizon was damaged, tired, and far from home, but it was still flying. Inside its dimly lit cabin, Logan Carter stared at the stolen data on his screen. Lines of alien text scrolled past, filled with complex diagrams, weapon designs, and something even more valuable, knowledge. They had barely escaped the ancient wreck. The pods were opening. The figures inside were waking up. Whatever Virextal was, it wasn't alone. And now, humanity had something it never had before. Power. Not just weapons or tech. Real, advanced alien science that could change everything. Logan looked around the room. Natalie Cruz sat in the pilot's chair, arms crossed, watching him. Kyle Bennett leaned over the main console, eyes wide with excitement. Jamie Morrow stood near the medical bay, holding a cup of coffee like it was her last comfort. We have to go back, Logan said finally. Natalie raised an eyebrow. You're joking. I'm serious, he replied. We don't know what we woke up back there. We need to understand it. Kyle nodded. He's right. That ship wasn't just floating in space for no reason. It was guarding something. And now that thing is loose. Jamie sighed. So you want to chase after it? No, Logan said. But we can't ignore this. If we take this tech home and start studying it, we might be able to protect ourselves before whatever comes. Next, Natalie didn't look convinced. You do realize we're talking about breaking every rule in the book, right? We stole alien tech. We jumped into unknown space. Now you want to keep going deeper? Logan met her gaze. If we don't, someone else will, and they won't care about protecting Earth. There was silence. Then Natalie smirked. Fine. But if we die out here, I'm haunting you first. Back on Earth, things were changing. The United Space Agency had been working hard to reverse engineer the data the Horizon crew had sent before their signal cut off. Scientists and engineers across the world were poring over the files trying to make sense of what they had. And slowly, piece by piece, they began to understand. They built new engines based on the alien schematics. They created energy shields that could withstand orbital bombardments. They discovered ways to enhance human AI systems using the stolen code. It wasn't perfect yet, but it was enough. Enough to catch attention. The Zelari Union, long content to ignore humanity, suddenly noticed a shift. Reports came in from border colonies, strange ships appearing where humans weren't supposed to be, weapons testing in deep space, new satellites orbiting planets no one had claimed. At first, the Zelari Council dismissed it as noise. Maybe a few rogue scientists playing with fire. Nothing worth real concern. But then came the broadcast. A message sent across all known frequencies. A clear, direct signal aimed at every species in the galaxy. Humanity has been ignored long enough. It was short. It was simple. But it was powerful. And it made waves. Some laughed. Others watched with interest. A few saw danger. One Zelari diplomat, Ambassador Keller Vex, was sent to Earth to investigate. He arrived aboard a sleek silver vessel, flanked by 2 escort ships. His people had ruled parts of the galaxy for centuries. To them, humans were children playing with matches. Keller Vex landed at the United Space Agency headquarters in New Denver. He stepped out wearing a flowing robe, his tall, thin form casting a long shadow. His voice was smooth but cold. "You have taken something that does not belong to you," he said through a translator drone. "Return it, and perhaps we can forget this happened." The head of the United Space Agency, Director Maria Lang, stood calmly before him. She was older, strong-willed, and not easily impressed. "We've done nothing wrong," she said. "We found lost technology. We studied it. We improved ourselves." Keller Vex tilted his head. "Improvement without permission is theft." Lang smiled slightly. "Maybe. Or maybe it's just progress." Behind her, military officers, scientists, and diplomats watched closely. They knew this meeting could change everything. Keller Vex looked around. "You think you are ready to join the greater galactic community?" he asked. "You think you are equals now?" Lang didn't blink. "We don't need permission to stand tall." The ambassador studied her for a long moment, then he turned and walked away, without another word. Later that night, he sent a report back to the Zelari High Command. "Earth has changed. Their technology is advancing faster than expected. They are no longer irrelevant. Recommendation: monitor closely, prepare contingency plans." But while the Zelari debated, humanity moved forward. New ships were built. Defense stations were launched. Research teams worked non-stop. And in secret, a plan was forming, one that would change the stars forever. On board the Horizon, Logan and his team returned to Earth after months in deep space. They were tired, worn down but alive. As they stepped off the ship, reporters and officials surrounded them. Cameras flashed. Questions flew. "What did you find? Is it dangerous? Did you bring back weapons?" Logan held up a hand. "We brought back knowledge," he said. "That's all. What we do with it is up to us." Later, in a private meeting with Director Lang, Logan laid out everything they had learned. The ship wasn't just abandoned, he explained. It was a prison. Something was locked away, and now it's free. Lang listened carefully. "And what do you think it is?" Logan shook his head. "I don't know. But I think we should prepare for the worst." Lang nodded. "Then we'll be ready." Outside, the world was changing. For the first time in history, humans weren't looking up at the stars in wonder. They were looking down at blueprints, building warships, planning futures among those stars. No longer ignored. No longer weak, humanity was awake, and the galaxy had better be ready. The galaxy didn't expect a war with humanity. It had seen species rise before, some strong, some clever, some dangerous. But none of them had come from the kind of chaos that defined Earth. Humans were messy. They argued. They made mistakes. They broke rules. But they also learned fast. And now, for the first time in history, they were ready to fight. Back on Earth, preparations moved into high gear. The United Space Agency became the core of a new military force. Scientists and engineers worked side by side with soldiers and pilots, Ships once used only for research were refitted with weapons built from stolen alien tech. New defense stations were launched around Earth and Mars. Orbiting factories churned out ships faster than ever before. And at the heart of it all was one man, Logan Carter. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a politician. But he had started this. Now he found himself standing in front of a room full of generals, admirals, and scientists. "We don't have much time," he said. "The Zelari will try to stop us before we grow too strong." Director Maria Lang stood beside him. "We already knew that," she said. "What do you suggest?" Logan looked around the table. "We show them we're not afraid." Natalie Cruz walked into the room, her uniform crisp, her eyes sharp. "I've been training. Our pilots," she said. "They're ready." Kyle Bennett followed behind her, holding a tablet filled with data. "Our AI systems are working better than expected. We've adapted the alien code into something stable." Jamie Morrow leaned against the wall. "And I've got med teams prepped. If things go bad, we'll be ready." Lang nodded. "Then we move forward." Across the stars, the Zelari Council debated what to do. Ambassador Keller Vex had warned them. Other reports came in from border worlds. Humans, building fleets claiming space, refusing to back down. Some members of the council wanted to act quickly, crush the humans before they became a threat. Others weren't so sure. "Humanity has always been unpredictable," said High Minister Vial Tor. "That makes them dangerous." Another council member, Sarah Nix, disagreed. "They are bold, yes, but reckless. If we wait, they may destroy themselves." Vial Tor shook his head. "Or they may become something worse." A vote was cast. The decision was made. Containment protocols would begin. Human expansion would be limited. If necessary, force would be used. The first battle happened near Proxima Centauri. A human colony had begun construction on a mining station. It was small, barely defended. The Zelari sent a fleet to shut it down. 3 sleek warships arrived without warning, broadcasting a message. "This territory is under Zelari jurisdiction. All unauthorized personnel must leave immediately." The humans refused. Instead of surrendering, they called for backup. Within hours, a group of newly built human warships jumped into the system. They were smaller than the Zelari ships, faster, more agile, and they fired first. Missiles streaked across space. Lasers cut through the dark. Fighters dove between enemy hulls, striking weak points. The Zelari were caught off guard. Their ships were designed for long-range combat. Precision strikes, slow, methodical battles. But the humans fought differently. They swarmed. They adapted. They took risks. And when the battle ended, 2 Zelari ships were crippled. 1 was destroyed. The survivors fled. The humans held the system. News spread fast. Across Earth, people celebrated. Across other colonies, hope grew. For the first time, humanity had won a real space battle, and they hadn't asked permission. In the months that followed, more fights broke out. At Epsilon Eridani, a human fleet stopped a Zelari blockade. At Tau Ceti, human forces claimed a planet rich in resources, daring the Zelari to challenge them. Every time, the same pattern repeated. The Zelari attacked. The humans surprised them, and the humans won. Slowly, the balance of power shifted. Other species watched closely. Some feared what humanity could become. Others saw opportunity. Small alien factions began reaching out. Some offered trade. Others offered alliances. One such group was the Ralvani, a minor species long oppressed by the Zelari. Their leader, Captain De La Vorn, contacted Director Lang in secret. "We want to help," she said. "If you promise to treat us as equals." Lang agreed. Soon the Ralvani joined the growing human alliance. Their knowledge of Zelari tactics gave the humans an edge. Their technology improved human defenses. More allies followed. The Yekari, a peaceful trader race, shared their advanced fuel systems. The Tharn, warriors who had never been beaten in battle, tested human fighters and were impressed. Even some Zelari defectors began to appear, whispering secrets of their government's weaknesses. Humanity was no longer alone, and the Zelari realized too late. They had underestimated the wrong species. On board the Horizon, now retrofitted into a command ship, Logan watched the latest battle unfold on the main screen. A massive Zelari fleet had jumped into orbit around a human-held world, Calor 9. The Zelari demanded surrender. The humans responded with fire. Hundreds of ships clashed in the darkness. Human carriers launched fighter wings. Missiles flew like comets. Shields cracked under heavy fire. Logan sat beside Natalie, who piloted the Horizon through the chaos. "They're throwing everything at us," she said. "They know this is important," Logan replied. "They should have left us alone," Kyle muttered, watching the tactical display. Jamie ran medical triage in the background, helping injured crew. Outside, the battle raged, and then something changed. The Zelari flagship, the Virex Prime, moved forward. Its weapons targeted the human command center. A direct hit would cripple the entire fleet. Everyone braced for impact. But then, an explosion lit up the battlefield. Not from the Zelari, from behind them. Ralvani ships dropped out of hyperspace. Dozens of them. They struck hard, hitting the Zelari flank. At the same time, Yakari supply lines opened new routes for wounded and ammo. Tharn warriors boarded enemy ships, turning the tide. And in the middle of it all, the Horizon led the final push. Logan stared at the screen. "This is it," he whispered. Natalie grinned. "Let's finish this." She pulled the controls back. The Horizon surged forward, and the Zelari fleet began to break. After the battle, the Zelari retreated. The war wasn't over, but the humans had turned the corner. Across the galaxy, word spread. The forgotten species had risen, they had fought, they had won, and now they were here to stay. The war was over. Not because the humans lost, not because they begged for peace, but because the Zelari had no choice. After the battle at Calor 9, the Zelari fleet collapsed. Their forces were scattered, their command broken, and their once unshakable belief in superiority shattered. They tried to regroup, tried to launch one last strike, but it was too late. Human fleets moved fast. They took control of key systems. They defended colonies with strength and skill, and most importantly, they held together. While the Zelari argued among themselves, humanity stood united. For the first time in history, Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a power, a force, a voice that could not be ignored. Back on Earth, the world watched as the Zelari sent an official delegation. They came not in warships, but in a diplomatic vessel painted white, marked with symbols of peace. They landed at the United Space Agency headquarters in New Denver. Inside the main hall, Director Maria Lang waited. She stood tall beside Logan Carter, Natalie Cruz, Kyle Bennett, and Jamie Morrow. The crew of the Horizon, the first humans to find alien tech, survive the dangers of space, and lead their species into the stars. Ambassador Keller Vex stepped off the ship. He looked older than before, tired, defeated. He walked forward slowly, stopping just short of Lang. "We come in peace," he said through his translator drone. Lang didn't smile. She didn't nod. She simply looked at him. "I know," she said. "That's why you're still alive." There was silence. Then Keller Vex spoke again. "The Zelari Council recognizes humanity's place among the stars. We offer terms of peace." Lang crossed her arms. "I'm listening," Keller Vex continued. "We ask for an end to hostilities. We will not attack. We will not interfere. In return, we ask that humanity stop its expansion into Zelari-controlled space." Lang turned to Logan. He stepped forward. "No," he said. Keller Vex blinked. "You refuse peace?" Logan shook his head. "No, we accept peace, but not on your terms." He walked past the ambassador toward the crowd of diplomats, scientists and soldiers watching closely. "We were ignored when we had nothing," Logan said. "Now that we have something, you want us to stay quiet, to sit back, to let you decide where we can go." He stopped and faced Keller Vex. "That's not how this works anymore. The ambassador stared at him. Logan went on. We don't want war, but we won't be treated like children. We've fought for our place. We've earned it. And now, we'll make our own rules. There was a long pause. Then Keller Vex asked, What are your terms? Lang stepped forward again. Open trade, she said. Shared technology. Mutual defense agreements. No more gatekeeping. No more restrictions. Humanity is not your subject. We are your equal. The ambassador looked around. He saw the faces of humans who had fought and bled for their freedom. He saw the eyes of those who would fight again if needed. Finally, he nodded. We will take your terms to the council. Lang smiled slightly. Good. Now go tell them that. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy changed. Peace talks began. Not just between humans and Zelari, but across many species. Some factions welcomed humanity with open arms. Others remained cautious. A few still feared what humans might become. But one thing was clear. Humanity was here to stay. New alliances formed. Trade routes opened. Technology was shared. Colonies grew. And for the first time, humans weren't just visitors in space. They were builders, leaders, explorers. They were part of the Galactic Order. On board the newly built human flagship, the USS Liberty, Logan stood on the bridge. The ship was massive, larger than anything humans had ever made before. It carried thousands of soldiers, pilots, and engineers. It was a symbol of everything humanity had become. Natalie stood beside him. You did it, she said. Logan shook his head. We did it, she smirked. Still don't like credit, huh? He shrugged. It's not about me. It's about all of us. Kyle walked onto the bridge holding a tablet. Big day, he said. First official meeting with the Galactic Council. Jamie followed behind him. And guess who gets to speak for humanity? Logan groaned. Not me, Natalie laughed. Of course you do. Outside the window, dozens of ships floated in formation. Human ships, Ralvani ships, Yakari ships, even a few Zelari vessels. Together they formed a new kind of fleet, not one built for war, but one built for peace. At the Galactic Council Hall on the neutral moon of Theros, the leaders of many species gathered. Humans were there for the first time, not as guests, not as students, but as equals. Director Lang sat at the main table. Logan stood behind her, silent but present. Keller Vex was also there. So were other ambassadors from old powers. A high-ranking Zelari leader, Minister Vale Tor, spoke first. This council has existed for centuries, he said. Today, we welcome a new member. One that has proven itself through strength, wisdom, and unity. He looked directly at Lang. Welcome, Director Lang. Welcome, humanity. Applause filled the room. Some clapped out of respect, others out of fear. But all knew one thing. History had changed. Later that night, Logan stood alone on a balcony overlooking the city. Lights sparkled below. Ships hovered above. Behind him, footsteps approached. Natalie joined him. They accepted us, she said. Logan nodded. Yeah. She looked at him. Do you think we're ready for this? He thought for a moment. No, he admitted. But we never were. She smiled. He added, doesn't matter. We'll learn. We always do. They stood in silence for a while. Then Natalie said, So, what now? Logan looked up at the stars. Now, he said. Now we go further. She followed his gaze. And somewhere out there, beyond the known. Borders, new worlds waited, new challenges, new enemies, new stories, but for the first time, humanity was ready.